Hey guys, welcome to week 5 of our distance learning. So, hope everybody's doing well as always. Everybody's here doing well, my family. And as you can see, I'm getting overdue for a haircut, which I think a lot of you guys are too. So, I'm pretty close to having my wife cut my hair, but I don't know yet. So, we'll see. But anyway, so this week we're going to be focusing a lot on space. So, positive space and negative space. So if you're in Art 2, this is something that you learned in Art 1, but it's just another refresher. And I know in Art 1 we talked about it. It's something to always be thinking about. For a good example, for space, if you're looking at this painting here, so this is the positive space, but then I have the open space, which is the negative space. So I'm also thinking about what am I leaving open? Now, this painting is a lot larger than it's supposed to be. I did that on purpose, and then I'm cutting some extra off. So I'm also thinking about space that way as well. So, leaving what I call room to breathe. But also, I'm also thinking about the direction. I'm thinking about the eyes moving this way and then working its way down. And so, space is important because it can help bring something together, bring something to life. Or sometimes when you fill up too much of the space, it becomes too busy and it doesn't give the eye the chance to really look at everything that's trying to be emphasized. So, space can also help emphasize parts in artwork that you want to be emphasized. So I'm going to pull up our lesson for this week, and then I'll show you kind of what we're going to be doing. So on space, here's this, and of course you guys will have a copy of this in Google Classroom. If you're having issues in Google Classroom, please email me, let me know. I'll be more than happy just to email this to you directly to your student email accounts. So far I haven't seen too many issues from some of you guys, but I'm not going to know if you're having issues unless you tell me, right? So please speak up if you're having any problems, let me know. Okay, so let me go back to present, sorry, there we go. Okay, so space, positive space, and negative space. So just like I was showing you earlier on this painting, like the chair in this example is your positive space. So that's the object that we're looking at, and then all the white space around it is the negative space. But you can also flip that to where if the chair was turned white and the space around the chair was black, well then that positive space is what's being emphasized. So the positive space in some ways would be the white space, and then the negative space would be the black space if we were going to invert that image, just like you see with the leaves here. So right now, this is the positive space, the white space is the negative space, right? And so this is being emphasized, but if you flip it, technically this is the negative space and this is the positive space, but you could also say the positive space is what's being emphasized here, and then the negative space is this space being around it. Okay, so you can kind of flip them, depending on how you do this. So here's a time lapse of positive negative space around a stool being drawn. So if you want to pull that video up, you can. You don't have to. It's just an option. Okay, so here's some drawings emphasizing positive negative space. And I want to encourage some of you guys that I know some of y'all that love to draw. I know we've done a lot of black and white drawing with my classes when we got to do classes in person. This is another great way of, showing your drawing skills, but also showing that you understand positive negative space, where you are doing a lot more simple. So this is a great, another way of kind of approaching this project. You don't have to do it this way, but, I like to see people that challenge themselves if you have time. So it'd be good to kind of see something like this if you're able and capable of doing it. So Notion or Notan or Noten, however you want to say it, Notan, known as a Japanese term which really means light dark harmony, kind of looks like the yin yang, the balance between darks and lights, and to explore different arrangements of light and dark elements in a composition. And so here's another video if this is like maybe a method that you want to try. Where you're taking the positive and negative, flipping, if I could flip it out of a book or something, what would that look like? So I've seen little artworks where you take an X-Acto knife and then you flip it out and then you see the negative parts right here too. So that's another way of doing it. But again, here's another video if you want to check that out and see it. And so again, so you've got two options. It's negative space drawing and painting, or painting. I know some of you guys like to paint, and then or trying the Noten method as well. So if we're looking at the negative space drawing and painting, here are some options to kind of give you to look at. If you want to do watercolor, you can, but I would recommend finding a way to block off areas where you don't want paint. One thing you can use is called masking fluid, but again, I know not everybody has something like this. This is a core masking fluid, but you can look up watercolor masking fluid, and you'll be able to find it somewhere, especially like at Michael's. Maybe Hobby Lobby might have this, but and that's one way to do the watercolor. If you see on the bottom right of the presentation, that's all watercolor. So using something that will block off the watercolor to keep it from going in places. So that's kind of a fun way to do it, to where you get to have fun with paint, let paint do its thing when you blocked off areas where you don't want. You can also use masking tape. Some sort of painter's tape also works as well. So here's some options. This is like stippling, using charcoal and going around objects. So that's another, or pencil and going around other objects as well. And then if you're doing the Noten method, here's a way of looking at it, which is nice because you can do this with cut paper. If you want construction paper and use black and white construction paper, or really you just do this on white paper and then do all your cutouts in black. This is a great fun project to do as well. Where if you look on the bird, they actually, all the little cutouts they did on the bird's face, they glued down onto the opposites. Again, you're taking what you cut out and then making it the opposite near the object that you cut out. So this is kind of a fun way of like I said, it's almost like you cut it and then you flip it over, and then you've got your positive and negative right next to each other. And you can find a way to make it kind of fun and a way they interact with each other as well. So again, you can do this with cut paper. You're more than welcome to do it with paint or some sort of Sharpie maybe, or a marker, if you want to try this method. So again, these are where if you extend it a little bit more, if you want to push yourself just a little bit further, here are some options to do that. If you're doing it a little bit more with color, using maybe some tape, or you know, taping off masking areas, but then also doing like a really nice detailed drawing or painting of a negative with this. And so there's also some links that give you some ideas if you want to watch some of these tutorials. So all these will be in the lesson plan as well, which I'll attach here in a little bit. But this is just, you know, again, to get you guys started, to kind of, again, it's always good to look at how artists kind of start. The hardest part is always starting. I know I've said this plenty of times in class, but knowing where to start, even for me, takes me a minute. But then once I kind of know, once I have an idea what I'm doing and I start, then I really get going and everything like that. So let's see, again, pushing a little bit further, if you make a grid, and then you do a positive side and then a negative side, positive side, negative side, which you see the one with the green leaves. If you really look at the image, you can see where the areas are turned white. And then on the next part of it, it's where the leaves are turned green. And then so playing with positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, and kind of alternating as you go. So that's another option as well. And the cool thing about this is that you can, if you want, you can just use the same color, like one color. Maybe it's just black, maybe it's just blue, maybe it's just red. It doesn't have to be super detailed specifically, but again, it just depends on what level you want to do and how far you want to push this, okay? And here's another option if you want to do symmetry and using line, you know, going this way and playing with symmetry that way as well. Instead of using a grid, this just gives you another option of playing with some sort of symmetry and doing the opposites from that as well, okay? So messing with that contrast, blacks and whites. So again, it doesn't have to be black and white. You can do a red and blue if you wanted to and have two different colors. So again, pushing it a little bit further. I'm not really going to read this. Again, this is optional. Finding ways. This one is a lot of like Zentangle. If y'all, you can look up Zentangle, and there's a lot of different variations of Zentangles. It's like black and white patterns and using them and utilizing them to where you can see it's full of this Zentangle, but then the white space looks like a castle. Okay, so this one does take a while. If you've got some nice little pins around, this is a good way to do it. But again, this is another choice. You don't have to do it, but if you want to push a little bit further, which again, of course, me being the art teacher, I want to see you guys push a little bit further. But again, it's up to you. So this can push a little further, looking at still life with positive and negative. I'm not really going to read this out. More still life, set up 3 to 5 objects and draw it realistically. Again, this is if you want to push yourself just a little bit further. So that's it. Okay, so let me close this out. Okay, there we go. So again, it's all about space. Thinking about space, thinking about your space, that your positive space, your negative space, leaving areas that are open, playing with it with positive negatives, and seeing where it takes you. So again, please try to challenge yourself because next year I might have you guys in Art 3 if you're in Art 3, or if you're taking Art 1, then I'll have you in Art 2. So some of these are skills that it's good practice to have. So think about next year. If all goes well with this whole issue, then and you're upping your skills at home, then there's more opportunities for you guys to push yourselves into other opportunities later, like getting into VASE or going to UIL and things like that, which I encourage all you guys to try to do. So if art is something that you are really looking into, or even if you're not going to take it next year, still I want you to have fun with this and see how far you can push it, if you can. I know time is limited to, household and some people with devices and things like that too. So do what you're capable of doing. Try to push yourself if you can. I really, encourage you to. And I look forward to see what you guys make. I'm really proud of how far you guys are coming. I know with this whole situation, last week, I apologize that I didn't get to do the Zoom meetings with y'all. I just had a lot going on at home. Nothing bad. It's just, I've got 3 small kids at home. And so, sometimes things just don't go exactly the way that you plan on to, just like this whole thing, or this whole pandemic. So I will do the Zoom meetings again, as long as nothing interferes with that to tomorrow on Monday. So if you haven't joined a Zoom meeting, just please do so. I encourage them. Again, if you were planning on doing it last week and you haven't been on them at all, again, I apologize. I wish I could have done that last week. Just too much was going on at home. But overall, like, everything's great here. I got to do 2 Facebook Live sessions for Golden Artist Colors, where I got to teach, I think so far almost 9,000 people on the 2 videos. So I did 9,000 people on one video, about 9,000 people on another one. So yes, I'm kind of flexing a little bit, but it was kind of fun because I had a whole production almost set up in here, where I had like studio lights, and I've got 2 cameras, and I'm switching between and answering questions and things like that on Facebook Live, and responding to people and just teaching how to do airbrushing. So if you guys are interested, I can share that with y'all, or I might just share it with y'all if y'all want to watch it. Because I know some of you guys got to do some airbrushing or were interested in it. And my goal this year was to try to get you guys to do airbrushing close to the end of the year, because I was slowly building up airbrushes and for a class set to kind of use. But we just, because of what happened, we just didn't have time to get to it. So I'll send that out to y'all. And just if you all want to watch it, just I don't know. They're about an hour each on just starting from one of them's the beginning of airbrushing, and the other one's now that you know what to do here, now this is how you get started on the next part. So anyway, I'll send that out to you guys. But I had fun and I enjoyed doing that for Golden Artist Colors. But you guys have a good rest of the week. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully I'll see you on Zoom tomorrow, which is Monday. And talk to you guys soon, and stay safe, and stay home if you can. And I'll talk to y'all later. All right, bye.